200,000 years ago, all the way to right now, you are somewhere around number 117 billion. That number is the foundation of one of the most unsettling arguments in modern philosophy. It doesn't require a catastrophe. It doesn't require a war or an asteroid or a rogue AI. It just requires math. And according to that math, the kind that serious philosophers and statisticians have spent decades arguing over and failing to fully refute, we are probably much closer to the end of humanity than we've ever wanted to believe. This is the Doomsday Argument. It was first proposed in 1983 by astrophysicist Brandon Carter, the same physicist who formulated the anthropic principle. It was later developed by philosopher John Leslie, and it operates on one of the most elegant and disturbing premises in the history of probability. The idea is this: if you knew nothing else about your position in human history, no dates, no context, no knowledge of which century you lived in, you should assume you're somewhere in the middle. Not at the very beginning, not at the very end. Somewhere in the middle. That's just statistics. A randomly selected point from any sequence is most likely to land near the center, not at the extremes. Now apply that to humanity. Around 117 billion humans have ever been born. You are one of them. If the human race goes on for millions more years, if we colonize other planets, spread across the galaxy, and eventually number in the trillions, then you, born at position 117 billion, are extraordinarily close to the beginning. Statistically, that would make you a wild outlier, an anomaly, someone who happened to be born in the opening fraction of a percent of all human history. And the math says that's unlikely. The more probable explanation, given your birth rank, is that you're not near the beginning. You're near the middle, which means the total number of humans who will ever live is somewhere in the range of 200 to 300 billion. Not trillions, not an unimaginable cosmic future, roughly double what's already happened. To understand why the math leads there, think about urns. Imagine two urns in front of you. One contains 10 balls. One contains 1,000,000. You reach in blindly and pull out ball number 7. Which urn did you pull from? Almost certainly the one with 10 balls, because drawing number 7 from a 1,000,000-ball urn would be extraordinarily improbable. Drawing it from a 10-ball urn is almost expected. Now replace the urns with two possible human futures. Urn 1, humanity ends soon. Total humans ever born, 200 billion. Urn 2, humanity spreads across the galaxy. Total humans ever born, 200 trillion. You reach in and pull out your birth rank. Number 117 billion. In the 200 billion scenario, you're right in the middle. Exactly where you'd expect a random human to land. In the 200 trillion scenario, you're in the first 0.06% of all humans who will ever live. Vanishingly rare. The math, through a process called Bayesian reasoning, forces you to update toward the smaller urn, toward the shorter future, toward doom arriving sooner than expected. Some calculations put a 95% confidence window on humanity, ending within the next 10,000 years. Others put it far closer, within centuries. The exact number shifts depending on assumptions, but the direction never does. The direction always points the same way. Now, before you accept this quietly, there are serious objections, and they deserve airtime. The most powerful counter-argument is called the self-indication assumption. It goes like this. Yes, your birth rank is evidence about when humanity ends, but the very fact that you exist at all is also evidence. In a future where trillions of humans are born, there are trillions of slots for you to exist in. In a short future scenario, there are fewer. So you being alive and conscious and watching this right now is itself a data point, one that actually favors a longer, more populated future and may cancel out the doomsday correction entirely. Philosophers have been arguing about which assumption is correct for 4 decades. Neither side has fully won, and that's the thing that makes this argument so difficult to shake. It doesn't claim to be a prophecy. It doesn't tell you how humanity ends or what kills us. It makes no claim about asteroids, or pandemics or climate or war. It simply looks at your birth rank, that number you were assigned before you had any say in the matter, and treats it as evidence. Evidence about where you are in the story. Evidence that the story may be shorter than we think. You are number 117 billion. If this argument is right, that number isn't just your place in history. It's a coordinate, one that tells you, with uncomfortable statistical weight, roughly where the ending is, and the ending isn't far from where you're standing. The question the Doomsday Argument leaves you with isn't whether the math is perfect. It's what you do with a probability that can't quite be dismissed. Because here's what makes it stick. You can't unknow your birth rank. You can't opt out of the sequence. You were placed in this story at position 117 billion. And somewhere, in a framework of pure logic and probability, that number is quietly suggesting something about how much story is left. Nobody knows if the math is right, but nobody has proven it wrong either.